kick off with Caught Stealing. Now,
Caught stealing.
Caught Stealing is a film by Darren Aronofsky based on a book, which I don't think Sharon has read.
Mhm.
By I can't remember the name of the guy who wrote the book. He also wrote the screenplay for the film. But this film is set very, very obviously set in 90s New York, and we're talking like 1998. It kicks off with a thing that says 1998 New York, and they do very well to let you know that this film is set in there. The technology, the way the plot unfolds, why certain things couldn't be done in certain ways, because nowadays just be like, oh, we'll just have a phone. But it's like, why that couldn't be done in that way? And it's kind of like on the cusp of when people started using the internet, on the cusp of when people were we're going from landlines to like mobile phones, and you're introduced to Austin Butler's character, who is called Hank, and he is this guy who works as a bartender in the Lower East Side in New York, and as the plot develops, you realize that he used to be a baseball star, but something happened, which means that he's now a bartender in New York. You meet his girlfriend, who's Zoe Kravitz. You meet his neighbor, who's played by Matt Smith. And Matt Smith plays this sort of like very obviously British, very obviously sort of like Sex Pistol inspired punk with this massive mohawk that is so big that when he's driving his car, he has to have a sunroof so his mohawk sticks out of the top of the car as he's driving this car around New York. And this guy, so one day he shows up at his house and the guy is like, look after my cat. I need to go to London. My dad just died. And he's like, oh, okay, fine. And so because he says that, one day, all of a sudden, or one of this day, he wants to go and get some food for the cat. These two guys show up with Eastern European accents, say we want to get into the flat. He's like, no, I'm not going to let you. They beat him up, put him in the hospital, and then from there on, the plot kind of like unfolds, and it becomes one of these. It's kind of like a low level. You know how you had a Hitchcock movie, like imagine this film, if Hitchcock had made it, it would have been Cary Grant, only that it would have been the Upper East Side as opposed to the Lower East Side. But this is kind of like, but almost every beat of this film is like straight out of like, let's say the North by Northwest playbook, only that it's scuzzy, down level, New York, 90s. And so it's so like almost mistaken identity. He meets all these different people. Regina King shows up as one of the as a police officer who is investigating the case. You have like Liev Schreiber and Vincent D'Onofrio as like two sort of like Orthodox Jewish brothers who are also essentially gangsters. and so as you're going through the film, it's about him trying to figure out what the heck is going on. What has this guy got me into? How do I get out of it? And that's the film in a nutshell. And I think this is a caper. And bearing in mind, this is Darren Aronofsky, the guy who gave us Requiem for a Dream, the guy who gave us Black Swan, gave us Mother, he gave us Noah, and his films tend to be heavy, and his films tend to be heavy, and his films tend to be controversial. If they're not heavy, they'll grab headlines because he's doing something like trying to rewrite the Bible or something. And this is probably the most fun that he has ever been. It is not heavy. It is a caper. It just sort of bounces along from one thing to another. The only thing that shows you that this might be Darren Aronofsky for me is the body count and how brutal the body count is and how brutal people are dispatched in this film. Because there is a body count. This film has a lot of big names in it, and they're either in it to be in it for 5 minutes or to get killed. quite brutally. Yeah, but anyway, that's my thing. Sean, you.
Okay, so I mean, I agree with you there, and I sort of quite like that, especially when and the way, should we say, the way some of them were dispatched and
Yep.
who was dispatched, and I
Yep.
thought,
Yep.
yeah, okay, I can understand what's going on here. So
Yep.
I mean, I did really quite like that, and the same with but anyway, if something
Yeah.
happens to someone and after a while they gradually go downhill, and all that, and I
Yeah.
like that. As you know what I'm talking about.
I know exactly what you're
Any
talking about.
spoilers.
Yeah.
And slowly, something's happened, and slowly they get it. They get
Yeah.
iller and iller, shall we say? But so I like that aspect of it. I really, really did like that aspect of it, and it sort of had I think, I don't know. He took quite a lot of punishment. Again, we have this little thing where it's like, if people get,
How much punishment can somebody take
yeah,
in
how
a
much
film?
can someone take, and then
without being dead?
yeah, without running super fast. Do you know what I mean? If something quite serious has happened to them,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You there's no way you're gonna.
Yeah,
be
yeah,
Superman fast, flashy, fast.
yeah, yeah.
You've
Because
been seriously damaged the way
Austin Butler takes a lot of punishment in this film,
he does.
but he also spends a lot of this film running away from people who
Yeah,
he's not
yeah,
sure why they're after him. He's not sure whether they want to kill him, whether they want information, whether he
yeah,
just
yeah,
doesn't know. But he knows, my best bet here might be to run.
yeah, 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 exactly. Yeah. So, but also,
Sorry, Sharon, you just said something.
No, I'll say sometimes the best option is just to leave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sorry, Sean.
Yeah, sometimes you haven't got a lot of choice, but yeah, and I thought as well with like, how can we say like about going to the police, going to the police
Yep,
and that
yep.
sort of thing, and all that's not, yeah, well, so yeah, it's quite interesting. I quite liked it. I thought it was quite an interesting little movie, really. And
Yeah.
I did like the sort of cinematography as well.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like the filming of it was pretty good.
Yeah, the filming of it kind of like, because it's possible to do this sort of film and make it also of ha ha he he, and like it's all glamorized and has this sort of like shiny sheen, but the film looks scuzzy. Like,
yeah, it does.
The
Does.
cinematography, it just like, I think it's by the guy called Matthew Lee Batik or something, and the film looks scuzzy. It looks, and the way it's filmed, it makes you know this is not your shiny New York. This is not your shiny New York of every. This is your scuzzy underbelly New York.
Yeah.
You never for one second think that this is glamorous. Essentially,
Yeah.
like, okay, these might be gangsters and they might be everything, but these are backstreet gangsters. These are not. They're not rolling up in Manhattan or anything like that. This is I think the way that it's filmed lends itself to that.
Yeah, and I did quite like the scene where he goes to the sort of Jewish families to have have some dinner. Oh, you're a nice boy.
Yes. It's I can't remember. I know that it's because they say Shabbat, which I think it's like the Sabbath. It's essentially
Right, okay,
the Sabbath meeting, and he ends up there for reasons. He ends up there for reasons.
Yeah. So that was quite funny, and it's like I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think that's the thing. I think the film I would say that this is the first comedy that Darren Aronofsky has made, because this is his funniest film by far. So if you've watched all his other stuff and thought too heavy going, can't handle it, this is his funniest film by far, albeit with quite a high body count. And some of the people that dispatched, like, shall we say, that some of them I think will knock you off course and will make you, like, there are some of them I was thinking, was that really necessary? Like, even from a point of view of the characters, like, did you really have to get rid of that person?
Yeah.
And from a point of view of the story, did you have to get rid of that person?
Yeah.
From the fact that this film is being made in 2025, did you have to get rid of that person? And so there was, and I think that it might vary for different people, but I think some of it will be like, oh, that doesn't sit quite well. That does not sit quite well. The way that was done. Why you introduce that character just to some? I don't like that. But all in all, I enjoyed it. I thought it was quite good. I think towards the end, it goes like I think the realism that this film is made with, and the realism, its hold on reality loosens as the film goes along.
I'll agree with you there. I like the bar owner scene as well. That was quite good.
Yes. Griffin Dunn shows up. Griffin Dunn, he of American Werewolf in London fame. He shows up and he's quite funny.
Yeah,
I think everybody you could say in this film is quite funny.
Quite funny,
and but I think towards the end, I feel like the logic kind of leaves the building a bit. I feel like the logic leaves the building a bit, and you're like, would that happen? And the fact is, like, this is a film that pretty much starts off with a shot of the Twin Towers to sort of tell you that's the world we're making this film in. It was pre 9/11. It was and I think that kind of it makes you realize, okay, look, things might, and I think they use that as a thing, but there's a bit that involves a lighter that I think is a little bit convenient. There's, I mean, I think it's well done, but it's convenient.
I agree with you on that closing. I'm with you all the way. I know exactly what you're saying. I guess sounds like we concur on this film, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think it was a good time, but the thing about it is that it was a kind of good time at the cinema that you go, you enjoy yourself and everything like that. And for me, it's a 3-star film, but it's like, And weird that this is based in the 90s. They were the kind of films that we used to get in the cinemas all the time in the 90s. And yeah, for me, it's a 3-star film, but it's a very good 3-star film. I don't think it for me, it doesn't really bother a 4, doesn't even get close to that, but it's a very good 3.
I totally agree with you there. This is a 3 all the way. It's 3 all the way. You know, it's one that you can go and watch and enjoy. You know, doesn't blow you away, but it's just enough to think, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That was enjoyable. And but Austin Butler is definitely a star. I think I'm quite impressed with his choices post Elvis. I think he's done really well post Elvis, like what he's chosen, what he's decided to be in.
Yeah, he's done some